It's the Superhuman Television Show, your guide to living beyond 100 years in good health. Now, here's your host, Carl Lanore and Tony Vanetti.
Hi, everybody. I am Tony Vanetti. This is Carl Lanore. This is the very first episode, so if you have DVR, you might want to hit record. If you're watching this for the first time, guess what? So is everyone else, okay? This is Superhuman Television, and we're not going to try to make you superhuman on this show, but we're going to take you along our journey. Carl, I met this individual at the gym. I wondered, who is this older fellow bench pressing 5 million pounds? And then I go over to talk to you, and I say, and I talked to you for about 10 minutes, and I said, we should do this television show, and we're here, Carl.
Right, yeah, it's amazing. It is amazing. And what you're going to learn about us today is that we have very similar journeys.
Yes.
And we're like most of the people out there today in their journeys. And we're going to take you along our journey and see if you can get something from it to help you have a better, stronger, longer life.
Carl, but you're not a doctor. Why should I listen to
I've
what
heard
Carl's
that for so
got
long.
to say? I'm not a doctor either, by the way.
I've been doing a radio show called Superhuman Radio for almost 9 years now. And
Yes, sir.
early on, I started hearing people say, you know, you're not a doctor. Why should I take advice from you? And I said, that's exactly why. Because I am looking for the same answers that you are. I don't have an agenda. I didn't go to medical school and then I have to protect my investment by following lockstep with the medical agenda and the pharmaceutical agenda. Instead, I'm just looking for the truth. I've read a lot of the same books that doctors have read. But I don't go out there with that information and look at it from the standpoint of, well, now I have to prescribe drugs. I want to find out the answers for myself that are going to help me avoid disease. And we've talked about anti-aging medicine, you and I.
Right, sure have. Yes, but you know, it's not going to be as heavy as just all that. I mean, we understand you're at home right now, and you're thinking, you have the same concerns as we do. Okay, what are we going to eat today?
Right.
That's going to make me feel better tomorrow. That's
Right.
the whole point of this show, is that we started this journey years ago, and I'm so confused about what am I supposed to eat, when am I supposed to eat it, and why do I feel terrible for eating these foods and not these foods. I don't necessarily think that the doctors have an agenda, Carl, but that, you know, we'll get into that. We'll talk about what's going on with that. But basically, you know, you have your family, and what do I feed my family, and what gets me the most energy as I move through my day without being 400 pounds? It's
even deeper than that. If I had a nickel for every person who came to me and said, but I eat healthy, I don't understand why I have type 2 diabetes. So the message is confusing out there today.
There's no question.
And quite frankly, what we will not be is a Dr. Oz type show, because we will not be promoting a lot of the things that are out there in the mainstream that people are going to go, well, I thought it was this way and that way, and they're going to hear us talking about things and they're going to think, well, wait a minute, that's not what I thought was correct. And what we want people to do is we want you to have an open mind. We want you to be open to some of the things we're talking about here, because these things that we're talking about here have served us and served a lot of people we know very, very well, even though they're going to be contrary to some of the messages you've heard before.
Now, we work out all the time. We're those two guys, and we hope that we can get you along that way and get you on the expressway of working out a lot more. Why Superhuman? What's that name about?
Well, it started a long time ago. The idea was not to just be an average person going through life in this day and age, but to somehow elevate the quality of life, the length of life, and the joy that life can bring beyond what is just typical today. And so that was the purpose of Superhuman.
Okay, what we're going to do next is that we're going to jump into who we are, because I think that's important of this television show and what brought us to this point. If you're home right now and maybe you've started the journey, but you're thinking about getting on this thing, we're going to tell you our stories. We're going to tell you all our skeletons in our closet next. So you want to know Tony Vanetti's skeletons in the closet? You're going to get them next. Carl's going to do the same thing, okay? So sit tight. We're going to tell our story. It's the very first episode ever of Superhuman Television. And we're going to start with what brought us to this point. And really, some of it can relate with what you got going on at home. So next, Carl's and Tony's story on the very first episode of Superhuman Television.
Superhuman Television will return after these messages.
Your body knows what it wants. It wants to feel stronger, work harder, act faster, and think sharper. Give your body more nutrients, more antioxidants, more protection, more of what it wants. Try Live On Lab's liposomal vitamin C today, risk-free, and give your body the nutrients to support your overall health, without jitters, without side effects. Order online at liveonlabs.com.
All right, welcome back, folks. This is our maiden voyage here on Superhuman Television. And start of this show, we're going to tell our stories. You know, we want to find out, look, we might be able to relate with what you guys got going on back in your homes or wherever you're watching this on YouTube or wherever.
Well, it's important that the audience know that we've been through this. You know, there's a lot of people out there who talk the talk, and they try to tell people what they should be doing as far as lifestyle goes. But many of them have never been through any of this stuff that they're trying to correct in other people.
And I'll tell you, what I said at the top of the show, I said to you that I saw you over there. I saw you in the gym years ago,
right?
And you literally had 25 plates on, and you were doing legs, I guess, that day. And I thought, who is that guy? Right. I want to get to know him. You tell everybody else, how did you get here?
Well, I was a relatively healthy person, and through most of my life. And then I came into the child rearing years, and this is probably when most of us take the sights off of ourselves and put them on our children and work and just staying abreast of the day-to-day affairs.
Sure.
And like so many people, I would come home, and by the time 9:30, 10 o'clock rolled around and the kids were asleep, I felt like that was my time. So I would sit up and I would eat, I would watch television, and I'd stay up till midnight generally as a rule. Go to sleep, get up at 6 a.m. in the morning, and start all over again.
Yes, sir.
And did that on autopilot, never even thought about it.
No doubt.
And with every passing year, I became fatter and fatter and fatter and fatter, until in 1997, at the height of my weight, I was about 330 pounds. And I even think we have a picture that we could show the audience, but I was about 330 pounds, and I was diagnosed with a rhythm issue.
Look at that right there. You look like Saragusa,
yeah,
the former defensive lineman.
Well, and that's
right.
That's right when I was diagnosed with a problem with my heart.
Right.
And I was diagnosed with a rhythm issue with my heart. And I was prescribed about 7 different medications, and I was told that I needed to plan my life differently because I was not going to be able to have the normal life that I wanted.
Buy a lot of insurance.
Yeah, exactly. And it was too late to buy insurance then. No insurance company wanted to insure me. And I had healthy parents. And my parents lived into their 80s, and I thought, what did I do wrong? And I realized what I did wrong. It was my lifestyle. And I convinced myself that if I made myself sick, I could make myself better again. And that is when my journey started. And what happened was, I was getting information from my doctors, but my doctors were telling me things that would treat the symptoms. I wanted to get better. I wanted to get healthy again. Mm-hmm. I wanted to repair myself. And so I had to start searching for information. I ended up subscribing to a variety of databases that doctors use for research, and I started to look at the heart and understand what could change the heart for the better, and that is where my journey began. I lost well over 100 pounds of body fat in that journey, and I replaced it with muscle, because muscle is critical to longevity and health, but we don't think about it that way.
Why do we keep learning? Why do we keep learning things about the body that 20 years ago they said was gospel and now it's different? On your journey, you had to have experienced that.
Yes, of course, but that's why you have to be careful. You have to look at what we know. The problem with science is we only look at what science knows now. We don't compare it to what we know from 100 or 200 years ago. And that's why it's important to employ critical thinking. When science contradicts what you know to be true, you must go with what you know to be true.
Let me ask you a question. Were you miserable in that picture?
Oh my God, I was miserable.
Are you happy now?
Oh, of course I'm happy. I feel great. I have the zest to live life. And what people need to understand about this journey, it's not like I don't want to look younger.
Okay, you're smiling in that picture, but basically your life is
I was told to smile. And anybody who's that heavy knows, that's a rare picture. I never had pictures of myself back then.
Right, yes, sir.
I always made sure I was not in the picture.
Yep.
And so, but what people need to understand, and what we're going to be talking about on this show, especially when we talk about anti-aging medicine, it's not about looking younger and chasing young girls or guys.
No. Oh, heck
it's
no.
about not developing disease. Most people today believe that they will get a disease sometime in their life. That's a totally new paradigm. It used to be that people never expected to get disease, but now everybody thinks they're going to get a disease. 200 years ago, people did not expect to get diabetes. In fact, 200 years ago, type 2 diabetes didn't exist at all.
Now, do you live in the gym? Is this an obsession?
No.
Where are you at now? Your happiness scale is what, between 1 and 10?
My happiness scale is definitely a 10.
Okay.
Okay? And I have all the same problems that everybody else has in their lives day to day.
You deal with stress better because you're healthy.
Absolutely. But I only spend about an hour in the gym, probably 5 days a week.
Right, yeah.
And it's not that much when you really think about it.
When you compare it to people that are in the gym all the time.
No. And the other thing is, there's a lot of things that people do day in and day out that they dedicate their time to, watching certain television shows and whatever. So when they think, oh, that's a long time to spend in the gym, well, it's not when you take away from something that's not doing anything good for you.
Okay, how about your family? Your kids, the ex-wife, your fiance, how does that all tie together with how happy you are?
Well, I have the energy to do things. You know, when I was that heavy, all I wanted to do was sit in a chair. I didn't want to do anything. But I have the energy to do things now. I can go out. I feel like going out and doing things. I feel like having fun. I feel like staying active.
All right. Carl, thank you for your story. That's just the beginning here, folks. Next, you're going to hear Tony Vanetti's story.
I'm laughing.
Look, you were big, man, but I was partying, all right? Yeah. So I think I'm going to relate to a lot of people out there that are watching this show. And please share if there's somebody in your life that can share this show story also. Superhuman Television back with Tony Vanetti's story. How'd I get here?
Superhuman Television will return after these messages.
Your body knows what it wants. It wants to feel stronger, work harder, act faster, and think sharper. Give your body more nutrients, more antioxidants, more protection, more of what it wants. Try Live On Lab's liposomal vitamin C today, risk-free, and give your body the nutrients to support your overall health, without jitters, without side effects. Order online at liveonlabs.com.
It's the Superhuman Television Show, your guide to living beyond 100 years in good health. Now, here's your host, Carl Lanore and Tony Vanetti.
Welcome back to Superhuman Television. So you heard my story. Now we're going to hear Tony Vanetti's story, which is very, very interesting. In fact, we tried to find the picture of Tony for this segment.
You don't want to see it. Yeah.
Tony was very skilled at staying away from cameras at this point in his life, weren't you?
I was. It's been a long journey. I started at a very young age in rock radio and rock DJ. By the time I was a full-time afternoon drive disc jockey on the biggest rock station in the Midwest, I was 23 years old, okay? So by the time my friends were still in college, I was at the pinnacle of what my job should be. Afternoon drive guy is the job you want. But back then, in the early 90s, 1990, 91, 92, you're talking about a lot of drugs and rock and roll.
Alcohol.
And you know, and it was, boy, very little sleep and just going after it every single day. No exercise, that's a joke. Smoking like a trucker. And, you know, several things happened along the way. I had a family. My father died at 60 years old. He had a massive heart attack watching college football on a Saturday afternoon. And I said, I can't, I got to do something. I got to change this because I want to be able to help my son and my daughter raise their children like I wish my old man was here to do for me. It was a long journey of drugs and alcohol, and I think there's a lot of us out there that we all joke about in our 20s and 30s, boy, we went after a little bit too much, and then we all try to, and some people think you can't get it back. Like you can't fire your brain up again, which is a lie. That's a myth. You absolutely can get your muscle tone back and your brain can turn back on. I'm talking about for the hardcore years, 10, 12 years of my brain just going for spinning records and partying, okay? So I'm not pushing my brain at all and just burying it with drugs and alcohol. You can come back from that.
Yes.
Okay? With exercise and eating right. I'm looking at you right now. You can come back from, now I never went to treatment and went to the 12-step program and graduated from that. I just decided I'm not doing this anymore. I had no problem with kind of messing my whole life up, but I had a problem with messing my kids' life up. But so I reinvented myself, Carl. I was at church yesterday, and someone said, you know, it's been the reinvention of Tony Vanetti. You have changed your entire persona in Louisville, and I think I hope I've done that. I really have. And you know what? I didn't care really if the perception of people were, but at that point I wanted to do right for my family. I'll tell you a watershed moment also. I used to play golf. I don't play anymore because I get frustrated by the game. Okay? Golf drives me crazy. But I was kneeling down to place the ball in a putt, and I couldn't stand up. I simply could not go from a seated position, a squatted position, and stand up. I couldn't do that. And I was playing with a friend of mine, Bob Dominy, in town, and I said, Bob, and Bob was 60-something at the time. I said, Bob, is that normal? And he was like, no, it's not. I couldn't even do a squat. I want you to think about that for a second. I couldn't even do a squat, Carl.
Well, can I say something at this point? Okay. And especially for the women who are listening to the show, a lot of you may think that this doesn't pertain to you when we talk about exercise and stuff like that. Because a lot of women feel that exercise is a man thing and gaining strength is a man thing and it's not a lady thing. But here's the reality of it. Most people are institutionalized because they can't get out of a chair any longer and they fall.
Right.
So think about this.
Yes.
You were how old when that was happening?
Oh, that was like 30-something. I mean, really. Yeah, I know. It is a shock. And that's will tell you right now that I don't care how far you think you've gone, you can get it back.
Right.
I mean, there's no question you can make this comeback. To me, it is like, I really believe this, man. I feel so great telling the story today on Superhuman Television, our first episode, because you can change history. The course of history for your life. It's a lot like, I'm making a movie analogy. It's like Back to the Future. You can start an alternate universe for yourself. You can change history for your children. And don't think, because your children are grown, that you don't leave a footprint on your kids. Still, as even if they're gone, you're leaving a footprint. Your grandparents leave a footprint on my parents or on my mother, okay? So I don't care how old you are or how down the line you are, you're leaving footprints on people in your life. And if they see you that you've said, I've made a decision to change history, my history, is what you're going to do.
Well, in fact, a lot of people won't change for themselves. And I don't care if you have to change for your children. Because here's the interesting thing, and you know this, our parents have always said, don't do as I do as I say.
Yes, sir.
But we don't do as our parents say. We do as our parents do. So if you have an obesity problem, there's a high probability that your children will have an obesity problem.
Yes.
So if you can't make the journey for yourself, if you can't find it in yourself to do it for yourself, do it for your children. And change their futures by your actions.
Absolutely. You absolutely can change your history today. And that's what this show is all about, I think, and be able to, and we'll say this a ton on our show, you eat the fruit, spit out the seed. You take what you can use on this show and move on, okay? And that's what this thing is going to be about. So you're going to hear a lot of Carl's story. You're going to hear a lot about my story, and we're going to move on. And we're going to make it part of your lives, and we're going to have you on a show. We're going to have you come on this show and tell your story also, because that's what this whole point is. This will be a journey together. You and I and Carl will go on this journey together. If you're on the couch right now, you're watching this on YouTube, on the bus, I don't care. We're going to change our journeys together. So I appreciate you joining us. We're going to come back right after this, and we're going to put a bow on the first show. I think we've gone pretty well so far, Carl and I, and we'll talk about what we're going to do for the next show right here on Superhuman Television with Tony Vanetti and Carl Lanore.
Superhuman Television will return after these messages.
Your body knows what it wants. It wants to feel stronger, work harder, act faster, and think sharper. Give your body more nutrients, more antioxidants, more protection, more of what it wants. Try Live On Lab's liposomal vitamin C today, risk-free, and give your body the nutrients to support your overall health, without jitters, without side effects. Order online at liveonlabs.com.
Welcome back to Superhuman Television. There's a couple things we want to summarize, I think, okay? We told you our stories because we want you to be able to relate to us, that we have been through this journey and we're still going through this journey, and we want to take you along with us. There's going to be times where we're going to talk about anti-aging medicine. And I don't want people to get the wrong idea, because the words anti-aging have been painted with a zealot paintbrush. We are not talking about living forever. We are not talking about becoming 25 years old again mentally and going out there and doing the things we did when we were 25, because we've done all those things already. What we're going to talk about here when we do talk about anti-aging medicine is staving off age-related disease. The goal should be to die someday in full stride of your life and not die in a diaper, in a wheelchair, in an institution. That's a relatively new phenomenon that has only started to happen since the late 50s, early 60s. It didn't happen in the past.
I think the way this is going to change, folks, is that there are well doctors out there now, not sick doctors. How many times have you seen Fred or Jack? Hey, Fred, when's the last time I've been to the doctor in 5 years? You a man. That's all changed because the science, like you said, is now morphing into, I'm telling you, I think my 10-year-old son and my 8-year-old daughter are going to live to be 120 years old.
I agree.
I really believe that. Now, I'm 44. You are?
55.
Okay. I think there's time for us, too. I'm not just putting my kids in this thing. I think we're going to do this. I think the journey together, if you have a family doctor, that's great, but you're going to your family doctor for a Z-Pack because you have a nasal infection. When else do you see your doctor? That's part of what we're going to do here on this show, okay, is that, look, we're going to give you the information that your doctor is going to look at you and go, what are you talking about? I love your family doctor. Your family doctor takes care of your family. I get that. He makes your family well, and his intentions are fantastic. But there's information out there that you need to be privy to. What to eat, what not to eat. There are a lot of pharmaceutical pills out there that they're going to give you an answer to that you have natural answers to also, okay?
Right.
Are the shampoos in your bathroom, the shampoos to use, hand sanitizer, all those questions we're going to get to. Those will be a show. Hand sanitizer will be a show right here on Superhuman, Carl.
Yes, and the mission of this show is to find the truth in these things. So, and it's important to understand that this show has a mission. A lot of other shows out there that espouse health don't have a mission. They bring information on that contradicts information that they talked about the week before. Our mission is to find science and answers that builds on each other so that we have a plan. We have to have a plan.
If there's a stigma to certainly, superhuman, you shouldn't want to be. Why shouldn't you want to be superhuman?
Right.
Why if you're 44, you want to feel 34? Is that ridiculous to think of?
No.
No, I don't think so. And that's what the journey we're going on to. So I hope you enjoyed the first episode. Please DVR it, keep it forever, because 10 years from now, we'll be doing our thing. Superhuman Television.
Oh, wait a minute. We have to mention something else.
Okay.
Okay, the next show that we're going to do is actually going to be about sleep, and it's important that you understand this, and this is why you should DVR the show. One of the most important factors of longevity and health is very, very underestimated, and it's sleep. And there's millions of Americans out there who are having trouble sleeping every single night. This is linked to a variety of diseases and shortened lifespan. So the first show we're going to do, we're going to hit the ball right out of the ballpark. We're going to show you how to start sleeping like you did when you were in your 20s again.
I love it. Superhuman Television, right here with Carl Lanore and Tony Vanetti. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Your body knows what it wants. It wants to feel stronger, work harder, act faster, and think sharper. Give your body more nutrients, more antioxidants, more protection, more of what it wants. Try Live On Lab's liposomal vitamin C today, risk-free, and give your body the nutrients to support your overall health, without jitters, without side effects. Order online at liveonlabs.com.